Hi everyone, I hope you're doing great, and I'm continuing with answering questions. So, by the way, here I would like to say thank you very much for your questions. And if you have some questions, please do send it to me. So, today I would like to address the question, what role does spiritual development play in self-development? What relationship do they have, self-improvement and spiritual development? When we are looking at that, we understand that often these both notions used as a synonyms. So, which means the first question here is a question of distinction. What is spiritual development and what is not? And is there any difference in between self-improvement and spiritual development? How do they complement each other? So, usual understanding of self-development is it is a self-improvement of oneself. How? Physically, intellectually, emotionally, economically, on all different levels. What do? We are developing new skills, new abilities, competences, understandings that improve the quality of life. Many processes are included in this concept. For example, reading books, or taking language courses, or cooking courses, or doing sport, or learning art, upgrading our skills, advancing our life and career. The main areas for the self-improvement are very often nutrition and sport, health, beauty, self-care. The other direction is self-realization, often in a new profession or improving the career. Also, we can work on finances and material well-being, recreation, traveling, hobbies and interests. And we see that in all these areas, the intention mainly lies in the plane of the external, physical life. But it is not all self-improvement. Also on this area, we can speak about relationship, for example, personal relationship with partner, with home and with family, with relatives, communication questions with friends, personal growth, often with a significant psychological basis. And psyche in Greek, it is soul. So here we're already touching something which lies mainly in the psycho-emotional life. So not just external, but already more internal for us in the area of the soul life in a way. This was the self-improvement. How about spiritual development? How do we understand spiritual development? And of course, the first question here then, what is spiritual? And there's no really good definition of that. So why? We are used to dealing exclusively with the physical world. The world of spirit and soul is usually hidden from the sight and view. However, this inner world of spirit and soul, in this inner world of spirit and the soul, their deepest secrets are hidden. So, and we usually carry our body and the soul and spirit with us, but we realize in real sense, mainly the body, but not the spirit, and soul maybe to some extent. But on the spiritual path of the development, we become aware of the soul and spirit in the same way as we as an ordinary person, realize or become aware about his body. In order to deepen this question, let's compare humans and animals. The body-soul activities such as desires, impulses to action, emotions, thinking, all these activities are also present in animals. Of course, in a different extent, much smaller, lesser extent, depends on the animal, of course, as well. But they do have elements of that. What do humans have in contrast? In humans, we have someone who feels the feelings, who desires, who acts, who thinks the thoughts, and governs the whole system. This is the innermost core of every human. This is our I. In English, often there's in use the word self or ego, but I like very much to say I, and this letter I is so vertical, like a middle column, which we all have. And this is something like a sense of self. It is here we don't speak about masks or something which is external, something that not how we present ourselves outwardly, but something which is much more deeper inside. I also call it I manifestation. So why I manifestation? Because this is how our big spiritual presence is manifested now in that physical body at the moment. And that can be, this I manifestation can be smaller or bigger. And when we are born, usually our I manifestation is healthy and normal. Usually, not all, but I would say usually it is like that still. But when we look later with grown-up adults, just looking on the street, just scanning people on the street, we see that this I manifestation is very often became smaller than we got it when we were born. So, and then the question is, why it is like that? What is going on? What are the reasons for that? And in my understanding, they are mainly biographical problems and also mainly in childhood. They are the reason for that. Especially, by the way, in early childhood. They are the reasons for that the later our I manifestation became smaller, and where physically we grow, but our inner core is not growing, stays small. What problems can we have when we have reduced our manifestation? So then it will be, can be the problems on the whole system. And I would like here to give the metaphor of a driver. So imagine that it needs to be a driver, normal size, driving the car, keeping the wheel, and just looking on the lights, street lights. So, but when we have a driver who is smaller, with a diminished self-esteem, feeling below one's potential, and so on and so forth, then this driver is driving the car, but the wheel is so big, then if you need to turn right, but the wheel is so big that you cannot handle that anymore, and instead of turning right, for example, the car is just driving direct. But direct you must stop because there's a red light, but the brakes are so far away because the driver is a bit too small to stop the brakes on the correct time, and then the whole system is just driving directly to some red light. That means scandals, that means problems, that means some conflicts in life, in the family, or in the working places. So that's the problem which can we get when our I manifestation is smaller. The whole system can get its own activity in a way. And not only that, also illnesses. Imagine if our eye manifestation, let's say, must fill the whole space around, but instead it became smaller, and then this quasi-empty space appeared. But there's nothing empty in cosmos. That's why if it became empty, it means that there are some other energies can come, join, and take its own activities. That also means that these other activities, these are actually illnesses or some disorders or some problems, and they can develop themselves further, unfortunately. That's why developing our eye manifestation, on the process of developing of the eye manifestation, we're helping not only for our, let's say, soul spiritual activity, for example, increasing the self-esteem or working with our potentials, but also we are actually defeating our possible illnesses. So, and of course, there are opportunities for us to further develop ourselves. And this part, which I just mentioned, this part we are developing on the part of the spiritual development. So this is the spiritual parts in us, in humans. So then, to summarize, what is spiritual? I would say some aspects. The spiritual is that which is expressed in the individual human I, in the I am, in the high moral and ethical ideas, where one rises higher than one is in everyday life, in the idea of the spiritual beings and God, or also in the idea of people who have developed themselves to a high level of being, for example, saints. And this is something which distinguishes man from the animal. And here we are touching eternity. Okay, what is spiritual development then? So, spiritual development is the conscious and direct development of the spiritual parts of human constitution. And the third aspect would be the eye manifestation, developing of the eye manifestation we just mentioned now, but also the higher members of human being. On this path of the development, we are focusing on within. It is the individual and conscious improvement of inner self. And intention lies in the inner life, not outer anymore, and concerns higher goals than the daily ones. It is the development of the best and highest qualities in oneself and the transformation of negative ones. This is the development towards moral and ethical perfection, towards a state of the heightened presence and awareness of the existence of the spiritual world. And it is also gaining new inner skills, so new skills, but those skills are inner skills, but also competences and understandings, of course, but they are important especially to our inner life. Here we speak about moral and ethical development in the levels of thinking and feeling and our action. Here we can speak about spiritual friendship. That's a very interesting theme, and I'm thinking maybe to speak more about that further. Here we speak about considering the needs of others, thinking, feeling and acting for others and with others. Then we can reach the quality of oneness, standing up for the rights of the others, especially when there is no personal interest or anything. So here we can say that here we speak about improving oneself for the development of the world according to the laws of the universe. And this relationship between self-improvement and spiritual development, first of all, that they're very close to each other. And self-improvement, usually we speak about physical realm and the realm of our souls. Rather, in spiritual development, we speak about the realm of spirit and especially of improving our I manifestation. And both of them, they have different aspects and they can go hand to hand very well to each other. But spiritual development opens new horizons. Thank you for joining me today.